Hello and welcome to another Wild Owl TV video post. I'm Ian Maguire, and recently I travelled to Rhyadr in mid Wales to visit one of the most unique bird of prey spectacles in the UK, a red kite feeding station. Today the red kite is a common bird in Wales and regularly sighted in other parts of the UK. But this belies the fact that humans nearly persecuted this beautiful bird of prey to extinction just 100 years ago. Opportunist scavengers, red kites were once commonplace in towns and cities all over the UK, from London in the south to Edinburgh in the north. However, with the advent of sewers and a general clean-up of built-up areas in the 19th century, kites were gradually starved from the cities. In the same period, the countryside was being cultivated for pheasants and rabbits by country estates, and birds of prey like kites, buzzards, goshawks, hen harriers, tawny owls and other predators were shot and poisoned as they were regarded as vermin. By the end of the 19th century, red kites had been persecuted to extinction from England and Scotland, and just 20 birds remained in Wales. In fact, it's reckoned that only one of these birds was able to reproduce. Isn't it amazing to think that at that point, the future of the British red kite rested on the wings of just one bird? By 1960, there were still just 30 red kites in their Welsh stronghold. An immigrant female joined these kites in 1970, adding a fresh bloodline to the population. And this, together with dedicated conservation efforts by local naturalists and farmers, helped to raise the population level to 100 breeding pairs by 1993. This figure had increased to 260 breeding pairs by the year 2000. However, there was concern that this native Welsh population was isolated and therefore potentially vulnerable to disease. So in the 1980s, birds of Swedish and Spanish origin were released in the Chiltern Hills and in northern Scotland. These birds were given a helping hand by being fed regularly at feeding sites. Other release sites followed, and this has helped to spread the kite's distribution range across the UK, although in my home area of South Gloucestershire it's still a rare bird. At the Gigrin Farm feeding station, the red kites are still fed daily with local beef scraps. The birds have learnt that this is a great place to come for a free meal, and this feeding is carried on for some years to help the kites establish their numbers. This is of particular value during the winter like today. When you watch the following footage, you'll notice that amongst the crows, ravens, rooks, buzzards and red kites there's a rarity, a white kite. The correct term for this bird is actually leucistic, and it's estimated that 1% of kites have leucistic tendencies, where there's an absence of melanin pigment in the feathers. The kites are very sociable birds and have a hierarchy. A leucistic bird would usually be lower in the status, and in normal circumstances, chance of survival for a bird like this would be a lot slimmer than normal coloration birds. But luckily this bird is found in the feeding station and is doing very well. In fact, it's apparently a breeding bird. So enough of me, let's have a look at the action at Gigrin. In general, the red kite population is on its way to recovery. But this will only continue as long as landowners and farmers continue to respect and conserve them. Many kites and buzzards still fall victim to illegally poisoned carcasses intended for foxes and corvids, and they are also poisoned by rodenticide illegally put out for rats and mice. There seems to be more cases of poisoning in England than Wales. Perhaps the Welsh farmers really do appreciate how a raptor like the kite can be of value to their local economies. Birdwatchers and tourists are attracted to view these beautiful birds, and this brings money into the local economy. The potential of ecotourism is being seen with white-tailed eagles in Scotland, and maybe perhaps one day the persecution of hen harriers in northern England and Scotland will abate for the same reason. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this broadcast and look forward to seeing you next time.